Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our regular board meeting on May 18th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Estill County Board of Education boardroom. At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's meeting, and we would like to start by saying our pledge. Do you think I could have some of these boys come up and help lead us in our pledge?
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. Come up front. Come on up here.
Young programmer, Lego car.
All right. Head us out, Liza. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. I'd like to remind everyone at the entranceway into our boardroom is a sign-in sheet if you'd like to sign in. Mr. Saylor, do we have any revisions to our agenda this evening?
Yes, there are two revisions, and just a reminder for everyone, I know you'd probably tell them in a minute, but Mr. Brian Covey is joining us virtually tonight, so we do have all members present. The first revision is under recognitions. There should have been an indication there that the Estill Springs STLP first place awards winner at state. They'll be recognized as part of the student presentation. And also under action items, we have added item trying to find it, H, which is to consider and approve superintendent selection and contract to finalize the contract that was approved at the last special called meeting. So those are the only revisions.
Okay, thank you for that. First on our agenda this evening, we have our recognitions, and item A is our mountain movers this evening. Miss Abby
Is on the floor.
She's a senior. This is it.
This is it.
She's going to be a hilltopper.
And I told her she can come back in June. We'll have another community mountain mover in June. We postponed one of them this month because somebody couldn't attend. And then, of course, she'll be here at the July meeting to transition to the new student rep. So she's got 2 more meetings left.
Okay, good.
Okay, our classified mountain mover is the Estill Springs kitchen staff. The ESE kitchen staff was nominated because they, at a moment's notice, will adapt to any situation to help others. The staff consists of 7 employees with a combined total of over 50 years of service. The kitchen staff have said it is a privilege to provide great nutritious food for the children of our community. Our standards are high, but the fruits of our labor and the smiles we see daily.
And ladies that are here, if you all will come up. Let y'all stand with Abby and we'll get a picture, but first of all, I'm going to award each of you all with the Medal of Excellence for a job well done. And they have a fantastic lunchroom staff there at Estill Springs, and it's evident by every special event, you will always see what a fantastic job these ladies do. So thank you very much.
Yes, I love you all. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our certified mountain mover is Miss Mickey Tucker. Miss Tucker is our assistant principal at the Estill County Middle School. Mickey is completing her 27th year with the district. She taught math for 19 years, was assistant principal at ECHS for 4 years, and 4 years as assistant principal at ECMS. Mickey states that relationships she has built with current and former students in Estill County are very important to her. She loves running into former students and hearing that she has made a difference in their lives. They sure have made a difference in hers.
because 4 years ago, when we really needed some people to step up in leadership at the middle school, she was willing to go as an assistant principal, and she's done a fantastic job there, as she has her entire career. And of course, she's gonna be retiring on June 30th. I think she decided to go under Miss Isaacs and I, but thank you, Mickey.
Next on our agenda, we're doing Estill Springs.
Yeah, we're gonna skip the community mountain mover because of some conflicts tonight, but we will pick that one up in June. Usually our mountain mover program ends in May, but I felt like it was necessary for us to delay that one month so we could get the right people here. So we'll do the community mountain mover at that time. So I think we're ready to do Estill Springs, and I think Mr. Simpson wanted to go ahead and recognize the STLP group first, so he's gonna come forward, I think.
Yeah, what we're gonna do first, start with you all, like you all to watch the video of what these young men did, and we'll bring them up front. Is that all right with everyone?
Watch him, he'll get this video to work up any other time.
And first place in the line follow challenge from Estill County with a final time of 18 seconds is Estill Springs Elementary School ESC Lego Maniacs.
Come on, boys.
Come on, boys.
You know, it's kind of hard to understand what these kids do to, to perform in these competitions. I mean, these four, Levi's not here, but these young men, I mean, they did everything that they had to, and where's Sarah? Didn't they beat like even the next closest team by like 5 or 6 seconds?
Yeah, even middle school and high school.
Even middle school and high school. So I mean, you know, watch out, people. This is going to be your boss. So what I want to do is, what they won at this, the STLP program is a Student Technology Leadership Program. It's held every year. Every single school in the state participates. There's various different programs that these young men and the students can participate in. These young men just chose to participate in the Robot Royale.
That's right, Royale.
Royale. I like Royale, sounds better. Line follow challenge. So basically they had to create this little robot that would follow the line beginning to end in the absolute fastest time possible. Doing all the building, the coding, the programming, and then understanding what was required. Because you got to realize, this little robot they made had a little sensor that was following that white line. It was not like that somebody had a remote control. And completely autonomous independent vehicle that these guys made. So who we have here is, you all raise your hand, Hudson Hardy, and then Nolan Walling, if I can see, I have my spectacles on, Jordan Samples, Garrett Mays, and then of course Levi Campbell is the one that couldn't be here. He had baseball, softball, sports, he's multi-talented. So guys, what we're going to present you all is the Estill County Medal of Excellence. You all are famous now. Now, each one of you have to give a 5-minute speech.
So we just did that out there in the gym.
And check out these shirts from the cool moms. Turn that around. Check that out. Just in, only in Estill County, y'all.
I believe they're gonna, I mean, they're gonna do it again next year. I think next year they're gonna beat their score by, 13.
Yep,
Mr.
Simpson was there too.
So,
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Next on our agenda, we have Estill Springs Elementary student presentations. We have Miss Mullins and Miss Mays.
I noticed you got treats. Is this like Pavlov?
Yes.
You have to give them a treat to get
Yeah,
them to
that's it.
perform?
I stuck it.
Pavlov's dog.
It's right there.
Okay.
Can we just recognize Liza really quick, because she.
Oh, yes. I wanted you, I was getting ready to tell you to come right on up.
Well, it's okay.
I want both of you to,
People can hear
come on
me
up.
here, I'm sure. I'm
I'll introduce myself in case some of you might not know me. I'm Jessica Mullins. I'm the principal at Estill Springs, and it is an absolute joy for us to come tonight to honor our students, our school, and our staff with our student presentations. But before we get started, I want to introduce Miss Liza Walker. Liza's a 5th grader, and we're going to keep her another year so that she doesn't have to go to the middle school yet. But I'm going to let Miss Rose tell you about what Liza's role is on our news team, because it's not just a leadership opportunity for Liza. Liza's doing something that it really helps our school every day. The information she shares and the work she does, what she prepares, it's something that we need. I used to be in charge of morning announcements. And for those of you in a school setting, you know everything happens within the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes of the day. So a lot of times, I might not be able to make it in for announcements. They might be delayed or something like that. Liza took that burden from me. That's a leadership skill. She said that's something the news crew can take care of. So I wanted to share how it had impacted me personally. But it's been a joy to watch her bloom this year. Her leadership skills are outstanding. You're going to hear the name Liza Walker for a long, long time. So I'm going to let Miss Rose talk about what she has created for you all this evening.
I just wanted you all to know, because it's really great, and she needs credit. But she is the doer of all things. Anything that the staff asks her to do, anything I ask her to do, and I was telling her mom and dad earlier, I think she goes to bed thinking about it at night, because she'll come in the next morning and she'll say, Miss Rose, we really need to, and then she tells us what we're going to do, and I'm like, okay. So I try not to, have too much executive, power over it, but she comes in, she has ideas, they all have ideas, and we roll with it. There's a team of 5 for the media crew, but what Liza does is she stays after school is over, and she's there like she was there all day today working, and school is out. She worked a good 8-hour day, unpaid, don't tell anyone, we're probably gonna get in trouble for that. But she put this whole thing together, music, video, pictures, everything and all, and I'm super proud of her. So I just wanted to make sure she got credit, like this is not an adult putting this together, this is Liza Walker.
Big hand for Eliza.
My favorite part about Boonesboro was the blacksmith and his tools. My favorite part was the gunsmith when he shot the gun. My favorite part is the blacksmith. My favorite part was the gunsmith. My favorite part was probably the blacksmith made the iron. My favorite part was the gunsmith. My favorite part was the blacksmith making the tools. My favorite part was when the candle maker was making candles. In our most recent Applied Nodes unit, we have been learning about the creation of the new nation. We learned about the Americans revolting and the legend of Betsy Ross. The legend said that George Washington asked Betsy Ross to make a flag for the colonist
The Army.
The flag that Betsy Ross made had 13 stars and 13 stripes, each representing the colonies. The colors of the first flag were red, white, and blue. Some students create flags that represented their classrooms. They included things that best describe their classmates. Through the charred grant, Miss Will was able to teach her class using photos and books from immersive field experiences.
Our favorite domain was the human body because we got to learn about all of our body parts.
And how it works together. My favorite domain this year was the cycle of nature. In the cycles of nature, we learned about the cycle of the chicken. It started as the egg, it went to the chick, and turned into a hen. It had to incubate for 20 days, and it couldn't lay an egg till it was 1 year old.
My favorite domain is the U.S. Civil War. I learned about history, and that I learned that the South seceded to the North because they were afraid that they would get slavery taken from them.
Who was the president?
And the president was Abraham Lincoln during the time.
My favorite domain is the War of 1812 because I learned a lot about history and that the British did impressment. That means they stole our ships or sailors and they blocked our forts, and that means that James Madison declared war. My favorite part about the Greek gods is that we get to learn about what they used to do whenever they were still alive. And I like to learn about them because we get to draw about them, we get to draw and learn all their powers.
Our grade just finished a unit about early colonization, which was really cool to learn about because it's the start of how America came to be.
People came from Europe to escape religious persecution and even to work to get out of poverty. They worked really hard to establish plantations and ways to make a living.
We also learned about the acts that caused a lot of trouble in the colonies and how different groups of people stood up for what they believed in.
We really liked all of our reading units this year because we were always learning something new and it was all super cool.
Our phenomenon is seatbelts and safety.
Our claim is seatbelts can prevent injuries during a collision. We did an experiment about seatbelts and safety, if they keep you safe or not, and they do. Miss Wilson, student teacher, finished her economics unit. For a culminating activity, students created products to sell at the economics fair for ebooks.
itself, thank you, Ms. Liza, for creating that and capturing so many moments from the school year. We have absolutely had a wonderful school year. We have loved welcoming our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders back into our building. Even though this is my 10th year, this is my first year as a principal to have 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it's been an absolute pleasure. We would like to share, if you want to give that to them, this is just kind of a little highlight page of some of the things that have went on this year, and just to show our appreciation for the work of the school board and all of the support that you all have given us. We do have 2 groups here tonight just to present you with a little token of our appreciation. Iris, I know you were in the baking club, dear. Would you come up and help me? All right, we have Miss Iris Patrick Howard here. Iris was a member of the baking club, and Miss Patty Embry, our cafeteria manager, who was just recognized as a mountain mover, she volunteered her time after school to lead the baking club, and they have made some of the most delicious food. Iris was a member. They actually made these for you all, so if you want to give each of them one, you want to pass it out to them? They have made you all some no-bake cookies. I don't think anybody will turn that down. And I would like Miss Newby to come up, please, and the members of the gardening club, if you all want to bring your items. They have just prepared some thank you gifts, once again, for the support that you all have given us throughout the school year in supporting our endeavors, our big ideas. Bless Jeremy Simpson's heart, dealing with Sarah Rose and the STLP team. Yeah, you go there, baby. I will say, the moment that Mr. Brock came to just do a walkthrough at the school, Miss Rose introduced herself to him and then said, "Can I have some money?" So she's off on either the right foot or the wrong foot, one of the two. But I do thank you all for your support. It's been a phenomenal year, and from our clubs, from our students, from our staff, thank you all for the support that you've given our school this year.
I've got one question.
Yes.
Can I have Mr. Covey's cookie?
Yes, you can. We do have some extra.
I'm going to eat your cookie, Brian.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Saylor, how nice.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
That is so pretty.
Do you have any questions for us? If not, we'll close out for the night.
I know one thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. We do have extra cookies. Thank you all so much.
That is absolutely beautiful. If I don't set it down, it will not be. It'll be right there in the floor. We've got Mr. Shaw with us here tonight too, Miss Mullins, so you might want to, we drove a long way, man. You get a cookie.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.
Lots of exciting things going on in our schools. Okay. So we're down to our next item on our agenda, which is our facilities and construction update. And if anyone needs to leave at this time, that's fine.
Hey, Brian, do we have a score before we move on?
Yes, sir.
So we're down 3-1.
Oh,
Up 3-1, okay.
okay, that's better.
That's better, sorry.
Better.
All right.
So that brings us to our facilities and construction updates. I think we have Kenny and Peter here.
Yes, and I think the first item on the agenda doesn't, well, it involves them. They help get a lot of these projects to this point, but we have 11 BG5s that we're ready to close out tonight. Those are 11 projects that we're closing. Really important to get those closed because there are some residual funds in those accounts that will be moving to some other accounts. And it's my understanding we can approve all 11 of those BG5s at the same time. So that's my recommended motion.
Okay, I need a motion to approve those BG5s as listed. I need a motion. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Harding makes a second. Do we have any discussion at this time? If none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
So, I have a 5-0 vote. Brian Covey votes aye remotely. He's virtual tonight. So we have a 5-0 vote. Okay. That brings us down to,
Estill Springs.
Estill Springs project. I was trying to make my computer move down.
It's technology. We need to get one of the boys back to help us.
Yeah, we need our
I
boys
got it,
back.
I think. So we have our Estill Springs Elementary ESSER renovation and addition project, which is BG 22-207. I guess we need an update.
All right, so today we had our monthly meeting on site, and if you've been by there, you can start to see the finished work now. The building itself is, I would say, honestly, probably a week we could have it done, but it just doesn't work that way. So we're probably a couple of weeks away from having the rest of the floor base down, the final coat of paint on, the sinks cut in the classrooms. So like I said, so I would say sometime around middle of next month, we are 100% done with that for sure. Today, obviously, school's out, so we were able to actually take over. So everything on the urban road side of the outside portion of where the amphitheater is, we've done as much concrete as we could do up until today. So today, we started tearing out the driveway that's there. We got to dig that down about 3 feet in some places. Actually, I think we had a water line towards the end of the day here. But I saw IMU up there working on it when I came in. So,
By the way, Tanya's got no water.
oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Nor do I. At least it wasn't sanitary line.
I just want to say, jokingly, I've been asking Casey for about a month to hit a water line on a Friday night.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then he hits a water line on closing day.
On the last day.
And I don't have water at home.
I should have brought Casey here tonight, yes, I should have brought him. But like I was saying, so again, that's going to finish up the game plan today. We talked about it. We got 35 days left until the dedication. It's going to be, there's a lot to do there, but it's very doable. Everything's coming in. The only thing I can tell you that won't be in for the dedication will be the LED sign at the road. That won't be here until August. But everything else, the new canopy you guys did change ordered in, all that'll be in, it'll be done. Blacktop, the whole 9 yards. So hopefully when I come back here next month, we're all but, wrapping up a few items and be ready for dedication on the 23rd.
At least it wasn't sanitary line.
Yes, we're glad we didn't hit that. That would have been rather
Adding
crappy.
up the sanitary lines.
Well, we need a motion to approve a pay app number 8 for $586,704.25.
It's been reviewed, and that's my recommendation.
So I need a motion to,
Make a motion.
Brian Covey makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do I have any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye, so we have a 5-0 vote. Next on our agenda, we have our Estill County School Safety and ADA upgrades, which is our BG 23-087. We need an update.
Yes, so the project, thank you all, appreciate being here. The project is getting ready to start its construction phase next week. I think I saw some email today that indicated they would be starting at South Irvin on the 22nd of May. They have all of the hardware in. I would expect this to probably take them 3 to 4 weeks to complete, especially with students being out of the building now. This should go relatively quickly. And they'll be working at South Irvin and the middle school. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about that.
Anybody have any questions? If none, I need a motion to approve change order number 4 for $0.
Yeah, so change order number 4 is a $0 change order. It's basically catching the project timeline up. So it's about adding some days to the project based on a very large lead time for some of the hardware that they needed to get in. So that's what this is doing, just changing that date. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about that.
Okay. So I need a motion. Have a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Sheila Samples made the first. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye, and we have a 5-0 vote. Next, we have our district facility planning. We need to approve a draft district facility plan. Do you want to discuss that, Mr. Saylor and Peter?
I know Peter probably has been more involved with this. I know Mr. Willis has pretty much led the district charge on this. This is laying out your facility priorities for the next 4 years. And Peter, I guess if you want to, just give them some highlights. And this has been reviewed by KDE, and I think the district facility planning, the LPC met the other night, and this is the plan that they've sent to you all for your approval tonight.
That is correct, and we're near the end of this. It was 4 really good meetings with the local planning committee that was pulled together, led by Mr. Willis. There are, at the top of the DFP, there's just sort of an explanation of how the schools are organized and plans for the future there, along with enrollment numbers. And then you don't have any priority 1 projects listed on this particular facility plan. So under priority 2, you have several projects that are listed, important ones at Estill Springs and the middle school, and also some, sorry, I didn't bring my glasses. This one caught me off guard. But anyway, you can see each of those projects that are listed there in the event that you are interested in starting those. And
We have a lot of interest, Peter. We have no money.
yes, I didn't want to say that. What you do have are great facilities that you've been working really hard on at this time. So you saw that BG5 list was huge. So, and then as you get down further, you get to see sort of needs that are listed that aren't related to the school centers. And then you get a total district need of around 43 million? Yeah, still to do. So, and then you have several items that people from the community and in the district brought up as something that they would like to see explored at some point in the future. So those all got listed as well.
I know there's not, right now, I know one of the biggest questions, and I mean, it is the bear in the room, that our bonding potential right now is about $1 million. 8 years ago, it was about $1 million as well when I arrived here in this school district. Since that day, we've done almost $47 million worth of construction, so a lot of things can happen between now and a few years down the road. I know one of the biggest things that is being pushed right now with the legislature this coming spring is the adoption of a second required nickel. That doesn't necessarily mean a tax increase, but it does mean that school districts would be required to pay an additional nickel towards their facilities. Now, how the General Assembly will go about trying to help fund that, and you know, it could be that would be a tax that would be passed by the General Assembly that would have to be passed on. So there are some options there. There's always grant funding. I think one thing that the district needs to remember is that the middle school, we have dealt with the middle school now for a long time. and the middle school has now been there for about 25 years. And as we know, long before we knew what the impact of pyritic shell would be on a building, we know that there's been some problems with that school with floor upheaval inside the building. When you look at the outside of the middle school, it looks to be a perfect building. It's an absolutely beautiful building, but once you get inside of it, you can see some of the damage that's been caused by the floor upheaval. I believe that some of the recommendations that's getting ready to come down, and I don't know that we're able to take care of this in June, but probably sometime, maybe even in Mr. Brock's first month here, I really believe that you need to consider to have a structural engineer to really take a look at that building. Now, we've already had a preliminary structural report for that building, and we've been told that the building is not in danger. There's no danger in that building in terms of any type of collapse or anything along that line. But if you want to stop the floor upheaval, there's going to have to be some mitigation done on that facility. And the issue may be that the cost of the mitigation may be more than the cost of building a brand new facility. So once you hire a structural engineer to look at that, then you would get a report back from the structural engineer, and then you would need to have a conversation, of course, with Peter and of course with KDE, because if the cost of repairing that building is more than, is it 80 or 85%?
80%.
If it's more than 80% of the total replacement cost for that facility, then that facility, all of a sudden, you become eligible for critical needs money to replace that facility. And as you know, the board has already laid the groundwork. You own 100 acres directly across the road from the high school that you could build a middle school. So once you have that report, the ideal will be that you would approach a General Assembly this spring to try to get added to the critical needs list in order to receive funding to build that school. So it's a process. I think it's a process you need to undertake. I just don't know that we can, with everything we're trying to close out, I think it's something that could very well be done in July, and then go ahead and get a report. You probably could have a report if you start sometime in July. You could have one by the end of October easily, and then that lets you know first place you need to start is with Representative Wesley. You need to tell them we've got a need here in Estill County, and then you go about trying to obtain funding to build a new middle school. If not, it's probably about 10 years before you'll be able to replace the middle school. That's when your bonding will become available in order to do that. So yes, we don't have a lot of money right now in the building fund, but look at what we've got to be thankful for. You have the best school facilities east of 75 and south of 64. There's not another school district in this state, in that part of the state, that has better school facilities than our kids have to go to each and every day. So that's your facility plan. If my understanding is right, you would approve that facility plan tonight, and then you would have a hearing this coming Tuesday night, I believe on the 23rd?
The 23rd is the public hearing, and it was scheduled, you all did that last month at your meeting.
Yeah, so it's, and it is that Wednesday night or Tuesday night? It's Tuesday night,
It's the 23rd.
The 23rd. I believe it's Tuesday night. But,
And then we'll be back one more time to visit the board for you all to approve the hearing report. The public hearing will have a report attached to it. And you all will approve that, and then the process will be over.
And I think, are they supposed to appoint a hearing officer tonight? Or is that?
They should, if they didn't last month, it would be a good idea if they did.
Okay.
And I think Mr. Willis has been heading things up for you guys.
And I think Mr. Wilson, Lord have mercy, been a long day. Mr. Willis could be the hearing officer as well, which that'd be item number 2. You've already set the date. You just need a motion to make him the hearing officer. So first item would be to approve the draft of the facility plan.
So I need a motion to approve the draft district facility plan. Tammy Hardy makes a motion. I need a second. Carrie Smallwood makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye remotely, and I have a 5-0 vote. So next on our agenda, we have the date for the public hearing for our final district facility plan, which will be May 23rd of 2023.
Peter, that is a special called board meeting. Does all board members need to be here? Or is it just for the hearing officer to hear and the board members can't attend?
The board, I don't think there's a problem with the board members attending that meeting. If the board is gonna meet to approve that hearing report, that would be after the public hearing.
I thought that we had that down as a special called meeting
I believe
because
it
we
is.
needed to report it by a certain time.
I believe you all are supposed to be here to listen to the public comment if there is any. It could last anywhere from 10 minutes to according to who shows up and whoever has comments. So it is a special called meeting of the board. And I thought that's what we had done. So you've already got that down and we'll get that advertised. Rebecca will advertise it tomorrow. And then you all just need to approve a hearing officer.
And so our second piece to that is we need a motion to approve Mr. Stephen Willis as our hearing officer. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Brian Covey votes aye remotely, and so we have a 5-0 vote. So that'll be May 23rd for a public hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us down to our action items, Mr. Saylor.
Gentlemen, thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Be careful.
See you, man.
Bye, Peter. Peter met Will tonight, so they've had a big, long discussion.
That'll be good. Okay,
All right, so we have our action items. First on our agenda, we have our tentative budget.
As you know, we had a special called board meeting here at the 1st of April, and at that time, you all looked at a tentative budget that had been prepared by Ms. Howell. Since that time, and we've been sort of waiting to see what's happened financially over the last few months. The biggest difference, and I'll go ahead and spill the beans, we're gonna approve a salary schedule here in item number C, but the tentative budget you have in front of you tonight has a 1% raise for certified personnel, and it has a 50-cent on the hour raise for all classified personnel. And basically, that's set up if you pay into the teacher retirement system, it's 1%. If you pay into CERS, it's 50 cents on the hour. We really felt like, and talking to Mr. Brock as he's come on board, we want to let our employees know that even though the board is facing some really dire financial circumstances through the legislature and their inaction this past spring, this school district will lose about $1 million in SEEK funding when the SEEK forecast comes out here in June. But we also know that our employees are very important to us. And I think it's appropriate that we let our employees know that we appreciate the work that they've done. And as you know, in that budget work session, we looked at about $1.4 million in even cuts or transfer of positions to ESSER funds that were still left over, and even using some capital outlay dollars to sort of move some items around in our budget that would allow us to give a raise, which is a little bit over a $200,000 commitment by the board to our employees. And I think it's important with Mr. Brock coming on board too, that he's able to walk in. We want our employees to have good morale moving forward. It's something that, it gives him the opportunity to come in and say, hey, we appreciate what you do. And I think it's important that he and I are walking hand in hand here through the next month. And I'm passing the baton to him, and we want him to be successful moving forward, and I know you all do. So I really think that budget is important to have that raise in there. So that change was made. The only other change that was made, of course, with Mr. Brock coming on, everything pertaining to his contract has been put in that budget, and everything pertaining to my contract has come out. So that budget is good to go, and there'll be some tweaking to that budget during the summer, because now it's really done on estimated numbers and stuff like that. Over the next few months, Angie will be taking each and every employee, and you'll be figuring to the dollar what their salaries are, so you'll be able to nail that budget down to the penny in terms of personnel cost. So my recommendation to you all is to approve the tentative budget for the FY24 school year.
I need a motion to approve the FY24 tentative budget as discussed. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Brian votes aye. Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next on our agenda, we have our capital outlay cash request for the purchase of 2 school buses.
As you know, as part of that budget, there is a $250,000 capital outlay request to pay for the school buses that we ordered in October, which was 2 new school buses. It's hard to believe that 2 buses now cost you about $250,000 when we used to pay about $95,000 a piece for them, but that's just the world we live in right now. You've got about $1 million in capital outlay, or will have about $1 million in capital outlay as of July, so you're gonna spend a fourth of that to pay for these 2 school buses, which of course, that move in itself just paid for your raises that you're giving to your employees, okay? So my recommendation is approve that request.
I need a motion to approve capital outlay cash request for the purchase of 2 school buses for the amount of $250,000. Tammy Hardy makes a motion. Do we have a second? Carrie Smallwood makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye, and we have a 5-0 vote. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have approval of the FY24 district salary schedule, which will include a 1% certified raise and a 50-cent classified raise.
And that is in front of you. We also, that did change pay for substitutes. We also looked at substitute teachers and made some adjustments as well. So the salary schedule, if you approve it tonight, it's very important, because I think before June something, Ms. Williams needs to be able to tell every employee what their salary will be for the coming school year. So my recommendation is to approve that salary schedule with the raise.
I need a motion to approve our district FY24 salary schedule as discussed. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye, and we have a 5-0 vote. Moving right along, we have consideration to approve FY24 fuel bid.
We had put out a fuel bid that we have been using, and then after conversations with some of our suppliers, we believe that at this point what we're going to do is that we're going to go back to our bidding of fuel on the spot market along with all other transportation supplies. So whenever we need diesel fuel, we're going to request vendors. Mr. Willis will be doing that here during the next few weeks, and we'll try to bring you back a group of vendors who are willing to participate in those spot market checks. So whenever you're ready to purchase fuel, you'll basically call those vendors. They'll submit it, whatever it is on the spot market at that time in terms of what they'll deliver it for, and then that will be how you'll purchase your fuel. I think you have to have at least 3 vendors. You have to at least request from 3 vendors. Hopefully all 3 of them, will give you a quote. It doesn't always happen, but you need to at least have 2 at the time. So, And we're gonna do that on all of our transportation supplies. In the past, we've been, for instance, buying motor oil for our buses, and, you know, we've been buying it from one company, they've been contracting with another company, and those types of things. Now we're just gonna contact suppliers directly, for, those products. DEF Fluid's another one, filters for your school buses and parts. So we'll be doing all transportation supplies like that, and Mr. Willis will coordinate that. And that's what the letter says. I don't think right now you need a motion on that. I think what we need to do is come back with you with a vendor list in June, and then we'll ask for a motion and approval at that time for a list of suppliers in each of these specific categories, because you're not actually awarding a bid tonight to no one. So just table that one.
Okay, so we'll table the fuel bid. Next, we have consideration for approval of the Department of Defense, a no-cost technology equipment from the DoD, Computers for Learning Program, MOA, Memorandum of Agreement.
From time to time, the Department of Defense, they surplus technology equipment, and we were able to be added to that list. Mr. Simpson took care of everything, so they don't necessarily, it's not every time they have something, but when they do have items like servers or some of those different things that they could come available, we'll be able to solicit from them those items. I really think it's pretty. It's no cost to us. If they've got them, you just have to basically have the agreement that we're participating, and he can obtain those materials at no cost to us. So with technology budgets stretched to the limit, I think it's a good thing, but you do need to approve that MOA.
Sounds top secret,
It is.
Department of Defense.
That's right. Hopefully they'll scrub them before we get them.
Yeah, no, they will.
Whitewash 'em.
I doubt they'll send us the hard drives, but they'll send us the CPUs. Or monitors
We
or
don't want
printers.
any information on no Patriot missile systems or anything like that, but we'll take whatever they'll give us.
So I need a motion to approve the Department of Defense no-cost technology equipment. Sheila Samples makes a motion, Carrie Smallwood makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Brian Covey says aye. What's the score, Brian?
6-3, yes.
6-3, yes.
We playing Alpine or, we already played Alpine.
Powell, I think.
All right, next we have consideration or approval of SEC Stand Energy Corporation Agreement.
This is for your natural gas supplier, even though natural gas, everybody, the bills come through Columbia Gas. There's suppliers within that supply natural gas to public schools and other entities. We had two different groups that we looked at in terms of supplying natural gas. And I believe Stand Energy, I know that Jeremy was the lead, him and Stephen looked at this, and I think your recommendation, Jeremy, was at least 1, but up to 2 years. We could approve 2 years
That is
with
correct.
them.
If you look at this, this is Stand Energy. You can do two things. You can either go with Stand's variable rate, or you can go with IGS. We just got done with an IGS contract, which was a set amount contract. We had that for 12 months, and then, of course, it expired. So I contacted both. Stand Energy provided this. This right here are the rates for the high school. Might be a little bit hard for you to see on here, but the Stand Energy rate rated from last March till this March changed anywhere from $5.42, $6, $8, $9, $7, $10 in August, September, so it varied. Whereas if we went with the IGS set contract, a 12-month term would set us every month at $5.14. We would have to sign this contract prior to June, looks like June 15th or so to lock that in. If we had locked it in 3 days ago, our price would have been $4.80 some. So as you can tell, it's a very variable market depending upon who we go with. I don't think we need to stay variable. I think we're going to come out ahead if we do at least a one-year contract. You will notice that if you do go with a two-year contract, the price does go up, and the reason it goes up, because you're like, well, they don't know what the price is going to be, and that's right. They don't know what the price is going to be in 2 years, but I think we can all rest assured gas prices are not suddenly just going to come down in the next 2 years, especially with the war in Ukraine and everything else. So I'll leave it up to you all. We can do a 1 year or a 2 year. If we do a 1 year, and my recommendation is IGS, either 1 year or 2 year. You could stretch that out to 4 years if you wanted to. That is not my recommendation.
My recommendation would be to you all that you would do it for the next 2 years. And I think that would give you a chance to come back after 2 years. I mean, because if you looked at the prices that we paid this past year, almost every one of those months is greater than what it would be locked in for the next 2 years. Looks like there's 1 month down there in March that was like $3.
You had February and March that was below $4, but then you'll notice, just your average was $6.98. If you come down here to the ATC, all of those are the same prices. So
I think you're gonna see that you're gonna lock it in for a greater than a $1 per saving on the usage that you've got. So that would be my recommendation, to go with 2 years and lock it in, because I think gas prices, as we know, especially with the volatility you have with Ukraine and Russia, I would lock that price in for 2 years. That way you at least know how you can budget.
I need a motion to approve the SEC Stand Energy Corporation agreement and to lock that price in for 2 years.
I'll make a motion.
just want to make sure we are saying, it's not actually with Stand, it's with IGS. It was the way that the VF, the title of the agenda item was, it's actually, there was two companies, IGS or Stand, and we're locking in 2 years for IGS.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we were clear on that.
We need to make sure that Rebecca amends that item as well then, to make sure it's clear, the agenda item itself. So it was consider approve either
IGS or Stand.
or Stand. So the recommendation then is that we approve IGS for 2 years at the fixed rate.
So I need a motion to approve IGS for 2 years.
I'll make a motion.
Tammy Hardy makes a motion, Sheila Samples makes a second. And so I need to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Brian Covey votes aye remotely. So it's a 5-0 vote.
Thanks, Jeremy, for that.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have consideration for approval for our food service requirements.
This is a yearly requirement that you do every June. Of course, you have to approve a procurement certification. Also, we want to make sure that we continue to participate in the community eligibility program. That way that all of our students can continue to eat free, which is item number 2. And then item number 3 is indirect costs. And I think one of the items that we looked at during our work session is that we have been charging about 45% indirect costs to the food service program. Because of the healthiness of our food service program and the budget that we have there and the funds that are available in that budget, we just approved that we would take 100% indirect costs, which would bump it to about $180,000 this year in indirect costs that would be charged to the food service program. I think we can approve all those at one time. Is that okay, Jonathan? So we would approve all those things, procurement, and then the community eligibility and the max indirect cost rate. And that's my recommendation.
I need a motion to approve the food service requirements as discussed. Tammy Hardy makes a motion. Brian Covey makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye, and we have a 5-0 vote. Next on our agenda, we have consideration for approval of the superintendent selection and contract. And this is to finalize Mr. Charlie Brock as the new Estill County Superintendent.
Yes, and Ms. Isford and the board, I apologize. Sitting in as the secretary of the board at that last meeting, I should have caught a little bit about some of the motions that was made. We had, everything was fine with the selection, and you had two unanimous votes. But according to Robert's Rules of Order, you're supposed to have a motion and you're supposed to have a second on each one of those items. And even though it was understood that's what we were doing, we didn't actually get that motion and a second recorded. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask the board at this time if somebody would make a motion and if there would be a second to hire Mr. Charlie Brock as the Estill County Superintendent.
We all want to make a motion. Well, I'll second the motion.
So we have a motion from Sheila Samples and a second by Carrie Smallwood. Do we have any discussion or any questions? If not, all in favor? So we have.
I think you got to do a roll call vote to be safe.
Okay.
Let's do a
At
roll
this
call
time,
vote.
I would like to call for a roll call vote to hire Mr. Charlie Brock as our Estill County Superintendent. Carrie Smallwood,
Yes.
Tammy Hardy,
Yes.
Sheila Samples.
Yes.
Brian Covey,
Yes.
Donna Isford, yes. So we have a 5-0 vote. Brian Covey voted yes remotely.
Thank you.
Next, we have to finalize our Superintendent Charlie Brock's contract for the fall year 2023 through 2027.
And again, even though you all approved that on a 5-0 vote, in order to make sure that we finalize it and have everything in order, I will need a motion and a second.
I'd like to have a motion to finalize the Superintendent, Mr. Charlie Brock's contract for the fall year of 2023-2027. I have a motion by Sheila Samples. Do I have a second? I do, by Tammy Hardy. Do we have any discussion? At this time, I'd like to do a roll call vote. First of all, I have Carrie Smallwood,
Yes.
Tammy Hardy,
Yes.
Sheila Samples.
Yes.
Brian Covey,
Yes.
Donna Isford, yes. I have a 5-0 vote. Brian Covey votes yes remotely.
And thank you. And for disclosure, that way it will be in the minutes of your regular called board meeting as well, which I think is important to have it in a regular called board meeting. And also for the public knowledge that there's no changes in the contract that was signed a couple weeks ago. That contract is still as is, as a base salary of $120,000 as it was reported to local media. So officially, Mr. Brock, we appreciate you, and you've been working the last few weeks with me for nothing anyway, and guess what? You're still going to work for nothing for a few more weeks, but it's been really good. You're exactly right. That is a good point. It's not for nothing, and I've enjoyed working with him, and again, we'll pass the baton here in a few weeks, but it's been a pleasure so far working with him. So I'm glad to get that taken care of.
Okay, next we have our consent items. Would you like to discuss those, Mr. Saylor?
Just real quick, you have all your minutes from the meetings there that you have conducted during the superintendent search in our regular called meeting that was on April 20th. Also, on item B, we needed to back up and revise the minutes, and it was that we missed the fact that we had a couple of change orders that were approved within the items but wasn't listed within the minutes, and we found that as we were trying to close out the high school project. So we needed to back up and redo those minutes, and it all has to do with 3 change orders that was left off of the list of about 8 change orders that took place at that time. So the bills were already paid, everything was already done, they just were not reflected in the minutes. So Miss Teresa Carpenter with Codell caught that. You've got your treasurer report, payment of bills, the district staffing policy revision. We did make a revision in the district staffing policy, and we really felt like that we needed to make sure that the high school principal's job, the second assistant, was listed as a permanent position in terms of the district staffing policy. And even though we can pay for that position for the next 2 years out of ESSER, we wanted to make sure that that position was not on the list of positions that you have that I've shared with you in the past, the ESSER positions that we know that are going to be abolished at the end of this coming school year, okay? So, and Mr. Brock and I've talked extensively about those positions, and he's in agreement with me that we really need to make sure. I think we've seen a lot of positive change at the high school during this year, and I think it's because of the fact that we've had the second assistant, and it's important to keep that going. We don't want to have to be going backwards. Mr. Brock's got enough to get in and learn, and without having to deal with a school that maybe having to take a step backwards because of personnel. So that was the big change there. That was in that district staffing policy. Also, if you go on down through there, there's some MOAs that you need to approve your physical therapy contract. Also, Bluegrass Community and Technical College, the adult education contract. And also with KDE, you're signing a 5-year agreement, and that's for the use of the facilities. And what that does, that allows them, you receive 20% of a SEEK allocation for that school that's to be used for maintenance of that facility or for debt service, and that's part of that contract right there, that you are agreeing that for the next 5 years that KDE can basically lease that facility for that amount. Also, you got your KEDC membership that needs to be approved for FY24. You also have the 22-23 amended school calendar, and that reflects all your final days. I think we had like 7 NTI days. It reflects all those days, all your NTI days, all your work days, all those different things are now in there. We had 6 NTI days. I was going to give us one too many. So we ended up technically with 169 instructional days, along with our work days.
We ran a tight schedule.
We did, and we were very fortunate. We did not have a bad winter, so we were very fortunate, and we were able to get all of our kids home yesterday and had closing day today. And I know pretty quick here out of the block, you'll have some of your schools having professional development here the next little bit. So we've sort of, on Sunday, we'll sort of turn the calendar on FY23 after the graduation, and they're already moving for FY24.
And our new school calendar is already posted on our Facebook page.
Already posted. It's already
So
up
if you
there
want
for
to
everybody to know.
Look at that. It's already there.
The item H is the additional work days within the transition. That has to do with my contract and the fact that I have actually worked my contract, and there's some additional days that I will be working with Mr. Brock to continue to transition on, and that's for payment of those days, and approve the emergency substitutes for 23-24. And those are your consent items, and recommendation is to approve those items.
I need a motion to approve the consent items as discussed. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Brian Covey votes aye, and I have a 5-0 vote, so motion carries. Next on our agenda is Mr. Saylor's superintendent report.
And these are pretty much your common items. You've got your personnel actions, item A. Final enrollment data, I believe, is pretty much what. Is this final, Donald, or will they be one more next time with all the final, or is this pretty much it?
I ran it through 9 weeks, but that is not the proof.
Okay, so we'll have final year-end data for you all at the next time, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more information about a possible relief that is part of KDE's program because of a 10% greater decline in enrollment and attendance. So hopefully we'll have some news about that for you at the June meeting.
Once we close the 9th month in Mr. Taylor, we will be able to identify our low top days, and that's
So that'll sort of give us what our yearly attendance is, which is also going to allow us to sort of give us an ADA number. And once we have that ADA number, we'll be able to do some comparisons to 18-19 data. And in doing so, that will let us know whether or not there may be some additional funding relief that the board would receive. Now, just know if that does happen, it's going to be October, November before you're going to know that. So you're going into the school year knowing right now you've lost $1 million worth of seat funding. You may be able to claw some of that money back. It's just a matter of waiting for all these reports to happen. You're okay either way because you made the $1.4 million in cuts that we just approved a few minutes ago. But if you do receive the additional funds, it will give you some leeway to keep some of these positions that you're worried about losing, your nurses, your SROs, those items that we've been paying for out of different things. So it will definitely be a blessing for you all in the fall if that does occur. We did have, there's a procedure with safety crisis management, and this is not a board policy, but it has to do with your prepare program, that when we have situations where students or staff members or something happens, that you have a tragedy, that you lose a student or staff member, there's a lot of procedures and policies how you need to deal with the mental health aspect of that, and how we deal with students and how we deal with families. And especially in the area of memorials, this has been a real big concentration, or a real big emphasis over the past year to sort of talk about how you deal with memorials and how you deal with different monuments. For example, you know, one of the biggest things that everybody wants to do is, you know, they'll want to plant a tree. There's been several instances, though, where they plant a tree and then 3 months after the tree's planted, the tree dies. Then you have that same trauma and emotion again that occurs with the death of a tree. And I know that sounds silly, but it's actually really truthful that you know, that particular tree was meant to represent that life that was gone, and now the tree's gone. So it really takes a really in-depth look at how you do, if you're going to have memorials, what do they look like, and exactly how you implement those. And then one of the things it talks about is giving it some time. A lot of times something happens, a tragedy happens, an event happens, and boards want to go out or schools want to go out and they want to name a computer lab after somebody, or they want to do something like that. I think the other night was a good example that we waited 2 years before we came back and we dedicated the press box at the baseball field as the Crow's Nest after losing Coach Crow 2 years ago. You know, you gave it a length of time to let people be able to process. The family's in a better place 2 years later. So it's just a matter of taking an in-depth thought of how best to meet those items. And I want you all to see that, because that is now part of our prepare training. And it's part of the information that will go out to all of our counselors, our principals, and I wanted you all to have a copy of it. And it's not something that you all have to approve. Don't forget, graduation is 3 o'clock on Sunday. I've invited Mr. Brock to sit with us on the stage at graduation. And of course, Lynette, you can come, and faculty is sitting right there beside, and Mr. Yost is a place for you as well if you want to attend graduation, and we'd love to have you. And June 15th, I've set myself a party at 5 o'clock for me, which is the retiree celebration. But no, we've got, what, 13 retirees total? 12 right now. And so we always do that in June. You know, I take cash, nothing too big, you know, just remember that. But 5 o'clock, and no, we look forward to having our retirees here to recognize them. And then your all's last big chance to get me is the evaluation. You do have to complete my evaluation at the June board meeting. You have all the documents. I will make sure that you get hard copies. Ms. Isaacs will contact Ms. Isford and here over the next few days, and you know that my evaluation is based on standards 1 and 2. And you'll have a copy of my growth plan and all those documents, and we'll make sure, I think I sent those to you the other day electronically, but we'll get you hard copies, and Miss Isaacs will work with you. I'll give her something to do here before she retires. I evaluated her this week, so we won't talk about her rating, which was exemplary, by the way. You know, listen, I'll take this moment right now. She was the rock when I got here. She was here when I arrived, and she worked hand in hand with me. She became the acting superintendent the night I was hired because of circumstances that was going on. She did a lot of tough decisions. I asked her to do them, and then she did them. She put her name on them as the acting superintendent and did that. And because of that, when I got here on June 25th, one night later, we cut $1 million out of our budget. And it was because of actions that she helped do. She's been in this school system for 27 years. She is truly an engineer at heart, and I love her, and I thank you for what you've done for me. I appreciate you very much. I want you to know that. And I've not bragged on you a lot in board meetings and stuff, but I am right now. I love you and I appreciate you, and I couldn't have done this job without you. Thank you.
I've had the opportunity to work with her at 2 different locations, at the bank and in school system. We started together teaching the same year.
So you all get to do that.
She helped raise all my children.
She did. She's raised a bunch of kids.
Yes, she did.
And you think about that, 27 years. Think about how many kids that she has touched their lives. And, you know, that's the one thing that's so hard to let go of. You take over 38 years. I was thinking there the other night, you know, these seniors that graduate on Sunday, they were in 5th grade when I got here. You know, it's been 8 years, and it's been a long, seems like it's been a long time, but it seems like it was just yesterday. I was sitting upstairs and I was signing that contract like Mr. Brock did, and you know, we were sitting here and started 5 days early and was able to get a bunch of things done. And just think of what we've done over 8 years, and think about 38 years. How many kids that's touched? And listen, I think she'd tell you the same thing. We've made some mistakes. We've not always made the right decision, but I tell you what, honorable that we've owned them, she's owned them, and you know, I think we can stand on her career. We can go home on the 30th and we can look in the mirror and we know that we have done the best we could for kids, and helped hopefully to form a new generation of engineers to go out there and lead this county, because we need a lot of leaders. And I've been blessed to work with everybody in this room. I'm just so thankful. My career would not have been complete if I had not been able to come to Estill County. And I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate this board and the board members I've worked for. So you all do get one more shot at me in June. You get to do my evaluation, and we'll do that at the next board meeting, and that's it for superintendent's report. And Jonathan, we were glad to have you here tonight too. Thankful, absolutely fantastic.
So the board member form, I was gonna tell you that.
Oh, I will, and I'd forgot and I was notified of this the other day, and I will let you all know this, and we're sitting right here. I've got Miss Isford right here that was awarded the 2023 Alumni of the Year for EKU for her work that she's done with the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. And think about the community that she's served here as a flight nurse for all those years, and then on in the Estill Medical Clinic, and the job that she has to do every day. Reported to work every day during COVID, didn't miss a day, and was out there on the front lines every day. And I think this is the second time here in the last like 3 or 4 years we've had one of our alumni that's been recognized as the EKU Alumni of the Year, awarded EKU. And I think Mr. William Hardy was the last one just a couple of years ago. So I want to say that about Miss Isford. I appreciate her and her work as the board chair here for the last couple years, and thank you. And that's a great honor for you. It really is.
Thank you, Mr. Sager.
You're welcome.
Do we have any comments from any of the board members?
Just congratulations.
Thank
Well deserved.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, three of us was able to go to baccalaureate because it was at 40,000 in local scholarships. It's just awesome, a small community, all the community partners and all the clubs, and $40,000 for our students, and that's local. That's nothing to do with a big university who gets money. Miss Abby here, she got quite a few awards last night, so, congratulations on that. And like I said, we have good things here in Estill County. People
Yes, we
don't
do.
think we do, but we do. And we can just make it better and get better as
And our-
years go on.
And our community leaders are dedicated to our students and our children, our community.
You saw that tonight, right here. Was that not a
That
great turnout for Mr. Brock? I'm so thrilled for you all, Lynette, you and Charlie, that you all were able to see. That's the type of community you're coming to. I'm telling you now, this community supports this school system, and they always did. We had some healing to do when I got here, but I think it's a result of working with 12 different board members and doing the right thing, and people knowing that we're going to do the right thing. And when people know you're going to do the right thing, every once in a while you get a pass when maybe something doesn't go well. But that was exciting tonight to see that many people here, that many community partners. And I'm talking about your big-time community partners that showed up here tonight. And your band out there, award-winning, they'll be trying to win their 4th state championship here this coming fall. So, I mean, I'm not putting pressure on you, but you're walking into a fantastic school district. You really are. And I mean, I hope you know, and I think you know, just in our conversations, I think you know how blessed you are to be able to be here. I can hear it in your voice. I can see it in your smile. I can see it in your face. And we're going to do everything. And you've got a board here that I know you can depend on that's going to work with you hand in hand to do that. And there's nowhere to go but up. You're right. This is a great community. And I just wish that we could get everybody, 100% of the people on board. We can't get the 100% all the time. I wish we could, but I'll tell you what I've told you before, and I'll look you right in the camera again. Get on board. This train is on the move. You need to get on the engineer train, and you need to quit spreading any negativity. Let's be positive about what's going on in this school district. And if we got negative things, we're going to work on them. I'll guarantee you he'll work on them. We're going to try to fix it if it can be fixed. Get on board. This train is moving. And if you wait too long, it's going to pull out of station without you. So that's my advice to everybody. Get your engineer on call. Tell me we're still winning.
We are still winning.
Good deal.
Boys are winning 3-2, mom and 7.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just one last thing before we close. This school year started out with some challenges and, a lot of changes and, a lot of people probably started out with a lot of anxiety this school year. But I just want to give a shout out to Miss Mullins, Miss Arvin, Miss Napier, Miss Hall, and Mr. Yost, and all of their assistant principals and their staff. They took some challenging situations and they shined. And, I could see the anxiety on you when we made decisions about changing schools and doing some of those things. But the comments that I've heard in the community from parents and from community partners and your teachers and your staff, I mean, you all were true leaders. And it doesn't go unnoticed. And sometimes you don't hear those words enough. And I just want you all to know how much I appreciate you and how proud I am that you overcame and that you ended up, I heard Miss Mullins saying what a fantastic year she had. I follow you all on social media. I get your emails. I read those emails. And there's just so many exciting things going on. And so it does not go unnoticed. And I appreciate each and every one of you.
And I know you wouldn't want to leave out Mr. Moore
Mr. Moore, I forgot about
at
Mr. Moore.
Success Academy.
Mr. Moore is awesome too, so we appreciate him.
And so you'll know also, Miss Napier has had some surgery, and she's at home recovering, but she's doing well, I think, and I think everybody would want to remember her
Yes.
over the next few days. I think she's been, I think she said today, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks. They've told her she can't do nothing for 2 weeks, and she's about ready to come out of the bed right now. She's chomping at the bit to get back, so just keep her in mind as well.
And thank you, Mr. Shaw, for coming and traveling this long distance and being with us. We appreciate it very much. And I guess, do we have any, yeah.
One thing I wanted to tell you all today, our MSP teachers found out right before spring break that we were gonna be under an audit. And we had to have everything submitted to the state right after spring break. And we got the notification from the state today that they passed, there is no corrective action, and these ladies worked incredibly hard and spent a lot of time and hours. So I just wanted to recognize them and Southeast South Central for their hard work on this.
Awesome. Do we have any public comments, Mr. Simpson? Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn. Sheila makes a motion, Tammy makes a second, all in favor? Motion
What's the
carries.
score?
Final, what score, Brian?
Top of 7, 1 out, we're up 6-3.
Top of the seventh, 6-3.
Okey doke.
Thank you all.
Thank you, buddy.